Security agencies warn politicians against causing trouble. INEC has announced more details about the election of Saturday, and the 2023 verdict begins right now. And your top stories this time, INEC is giving so much information about Saturday election, keeping the stakeholders abreast of its preparation towards the 25th February election. And Senator Yocha Ayu and other PDP bigwigs in Benue State today disown Governor Samuel Ortom. Security agencies are warning against activities that can mess up the election of Saturday, and are warning troublemakers to steer clear of the process. We are early today just for one reason, for you, so that we can give you as much more you can get. It's the last day of campaign in the 2023 election. Welcome, everyone. This is the 2023 verdict live on China's television. I'm sure Kimalo in Abuja. Our countdown continues, because one thing that we live for at this hour, in this moment, is the election of Saturday. We keep our eyes on the ball, and we're not getting our eyes away. It's a day to the election, 13 hours, 56 minutes, and this guy here keeps counting down. He's not stopping. He's so faster than any one of them, because it's 58 seconds, 55 minutes, 13 hours, and 1 day to the election. Now, you counting with me, Nigerians, because we are nearing the very decision moment for Nigerians. You've been anticipating, you've been waiting for this moment to come, and here is approached us right now. So don't forget that you get your PVC, no voting. That is the idea for this election, for over 90 million registered voters. But not all of them will be able to vote. It's those who have the permanent voter card that will be able to vote. So get counted and use your PVC, use it rightly on Saturday. Before we get to dissect all of the issues that we have for you tonight, we'll be checking with your election news update at some point on the program to keep you abreast of all the happenings across the land as far as this election is concerned. Don't forget, this program is interactive, and we want to get your views on the topics that we have for discussion. So tweet to us on these handles that you see on your screen, or with the hashtag 2023 verdict, or send us an email to 2023verdict@chanastv.com. The race is not getting any slower. It's perhaps more intense than we can imagine. So much is happening at the same time that could swing the trajectory of the race. And some of the top stories that will form a conversation tonight is here. And this is the state of the race. Well, let's begin with what INEC has been saying today. Today, the Commission began a daily briefing. These, INEC says, will help to keep the stakeholders abreast of what is going on in terms of INEC's preparations. Stakeholders across all the sectors gathered today at the International Conference Center in Abuja, where the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, was briefing Nigerians about the latest in terms of preparations and the readiness of the Commission for the election. I'd like you to listen to some of those things the INEC chairman said today. A few questions he took, but he gave a clue on the issue of the PVC collection and whether or not INEC is truly ready for the exercise.
We are convinced that our joint operations before and on election day will vastly reduce the prospect of voter inducement. which is not only illegal, but actually immoral. The ban on the use of mobile phones and photographic devices at the voting cubicles is still in force. Our arrangement of placing the ballot boxes near the voting cubicles and away from the party agents remains. Several of our facilities were attacked by unknown assailants in various parts of the country. I am pleased that we have fully recovered from these attacks, and we have been further assured that our facilities, staff, voters, observers, the media, and citizens will be safe during the election. The bulk of the small amount of cash that we have requested from the Central Bank of Nigeria is right now being released to the Commission's offices nationwide. In fact, a substantial part of it has already been received by our offices nationwide, and this has greatly facilitated the movement of sensitive materials yesterday from the branches of the Central Bank to our local government areas. And by tomorrow, we'll batch them and then move them on Friday to the registration area centers. And then on Saturday early morning, they will be moved to the polling units for voting.
All right, that's the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, giving response to some of the questions and the details on what is happening in the election. Let us tell you that distribution of materials has since commenced in many parts of the country. In some of those areas that China's television has monitored from Delta State, some of the footage we would like to show you of what is going on across the state. This is Delta State. You can see security operatives fully armed, and some of the materials that are being pushed, being carted out to for onward distribution. And of course, from there, that's Borno State and in the northeastern region of the country. And that also gives us an understanding of what is going on there. To Plateau State in the north central region. Gombe is another state that has gotten started with the distribution of materials to the different local government area. And in the southwest is Ekiti State, and you can see INEC officials giving details and documenting the distribution process. And in the southeast is Imo State. Though Imo State will not be having governorship election in this period on the 11th of March, but National Assembly and presidential election will hold as scheduled across the country in Imo State. The candidates have been speaking about their plans, and it's an opportunity, a last opportunity for them to pitch their ideas for Nigerians. We've been hearing some of them in recorded videos. And let me allow you to listen to, this is the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party and the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar.
Dear Nigerians, the commencement of the general election this weekend has placed a call on us to play our patriotic roles in electing new leaders for our dear country. It is a call to which all Nigerians of universal adult suffrage status must heed. Playing this civic responsibility with determined patriotism is the minimum way we can ensure that we work together in ensuring the country is on a safe health status. We all, as Nigerians, know that our country is in a poor state of health, but it is our collective will as one people with common destiny that can put the country back as a place where our young people can express their promise of a brighter future.
Well, that is the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. The ruling APC's candidate, Bola Tinubu, is also speaking about some of, perhaps a summary of what he's been telling Nigerians since he commenced his campaigns. Take a listen to Bola Tinubu, the candidate of the APC.
My fellow Nigerians, my name is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I am the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress. I wish to use this medium to personally thank you and seek your support and prayers for the upcoming presidential election. This election is crucial to our democracy and development as a nation, and we need to get it right. I therefore appeal to you to vote for me. I have the competence and track record to deliver on my promise to you to build a better Nigeria for all. I've done it before in Lagos, and with your support, I can do it again.
Oh, well, there you have it. The candidate of the APC, Bola Tinubu, there. There's so much for you to know about this election, and of course we're looking at some of the issues that are going to be very crucial, the information that you need to have going into this election. I've been joined now by one of China's television's consultant who will be joining me just in a moment. Jide Ojo will be joining me. It's good to see you, Mr. Ojo. But just before I come to you in a moment, let me show you some of the information that will be very important for this conversation. Of course, we know that there is one constituency in the presidential election, and there are several constituencies, 109 of them in the Senate, 360 for the House of Representatives. So much to talk about. Let's take our first break on the program. And when we return, Jide Ojo here has a lot of ideas about some of these data and some of the information that will shape these elections. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much indeed, everyone, for staying with us. So let's get started. Jide Ojo is here with us. Jide Ojo is a political analyst and one of China's television's election consultant. Thank you so much, Jide. How do you feel about this election generally?
I'm excited.
You're excited?
I mean, the 0 hour is here upon
Absolutely.
us. Remember, we were talking of 365 days, 6 months, then 100 days, and now it's less than 24 hours.
Let's talk about, let's get straight to it. We'll talk about those guys are going to be on the ballot, and we've been talking about 4-horse race. In fact, something happened today in Kano. Kwankwaso went back home, and it's been hours of unending parade on the streets of Kano today for Kwankwaso. You heard Atiku Abubakar and Bola Tinubu. You've been seeing Peter Obi around town. Let's look at some of these gentlemen. First and foremost, perhaps, let's take a look at Atiku Abubakar, the candidate of the PDP. We take a quick look at their profile and a few issues that have come up. This is Atiku Abubakar. 76 years of age. We're going to be covering him from Jada in Adamawa State in the northeastern region of the country, a former vice president. Jide is going to go down as one of the most intense races in our political history.
No doubt. Turaki Adamawa, former vice president Atiku Abubakar, 6th time at the poll. Since 1992.
I was saying to someone, I said it's perhaps the only man alive in Nigeria today that have contested the most for Nigeria's presidency.
Exactly. So, he's like Abraham Lincoln of Nigeria presidential race. But he's a very dogged fighter. He was governor-elect, and fortune smiled on him. He was upgraded in 1999.
Yeah.
If there's anyone like that, upgraded to vice presidential candidacy by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. And he's been very, I would say he's the most prepared in terms of when you have an ambition that spanned over 30 years. Since 1992, if you do the maths, this man has been having his eye on the ball. He's had several policy documents. It's
not new to presidential manifestos.
It's not new, and you know where he stands with issues. The other day we were here, we examined the manifesto of Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And he was quite specific. He wants to do restructuring. He wants private sector-led economy. And he's a successful businessman. Interestingly, they didn't even do
Yeah.
For somebody who has been running for 6 there was no fundraising. It tells you how deep pocket he has. Well, it's all in the wires now.
That's one candidate there, but I must sincerely say that we sincerely apologize earlier for that break that we had earlier on due to some technical issues which has been resolved now. Sincere apologies for that. So I don't want that to disturb the flow of, I mean, the excitement is in the air. So this is Atiku Abubakar.
And interestingly, it's also the oldest of all the candidates.
Absolutely. 76 years of age. Yes.
But he doesn't look it anyway.
Doesn't it?
I mean, he's still very agile and virile.
Okay.
And you know, his unique selling point is that just like the Igbos, for Turaki, the argument has been since Tafawa Balewa from Bauchi State, known somebody from the Northeast has tasted presidency. So
that is one of the campaign points, even at the primaries. So let's flip the page and let's look at yet another candidate. Perhaps we go to the candidate of the APC, Bola Tinubu, who is also not a stranger to presidential, he's been very much involved. He's supported a lot of people. That is what he will tell you. Bola Tinubu, 70 years of age, born in Lagos, is being a 2-term governor of Lagos. Jide.
But what Asiwaju Jagaban, in fact, it depends on how you want to describe it. What he has going for him is his pro-democracy credentials. Just like Atiku Abubakar, you cannot write off the contribution of Jagaban to the pro-democracy journey of Nigeria, because he fought in the trenches for the 1993
the military days.
Yes, before the military went on exile with Professor Wole Soyinka and the rest of them to campaign for the realization of June 12, 1993 presidential election. That predates his even coming in as the governor of Lagos. Then he was a senator in 1992.
Absolutely.
Senator, then governor of Lagos for 2 terms. And in fact, if there's anybody in this race that has produced so many godchildren, so many mentees, so many people who has raised champions, is Jagaban.
Yeah.
Because I saw a map of people who are presently movers and shakers of Nigeria, holding very high position from the #2 citizen of Nigeria down to so many. You remember the Eleyi stuff?
Yeah.
You know, he could proudly say.
So you could say that that's one of his credentials.
Exactly, that he was able to raise many champions, and that goes for him. Because what people are asking is, okay, Atiku, you have been vice president for 2 terms. Who are your mentees? Who have you mentored to success that you can point to?
This is going to be one of the conversations. Let's flip quickly to the Labour Party candidate, Peter Obi, who himself is also a 2-term governor, a former 2-term governor. Peter Gregory Obi, 61 years of age, is younger than the earlier 2 candidates that we looked at. Was born in Onitsha in Anambra State, a 2-term governor of Anambra State. This is yet another one that will pose some kind of huge contest in the race.
If there's anybody that is shaking the table, more than people call them ancestors. I don't agree with them. But those who are in the 70s bracket that we have earlier discussed, this man is it. This man has made 2023 presidential election very exciting. This man has made everybody contesting for the presidency of Nigeria to campaign.
Yeah.
You know, he is...
Would you call him a disruptor?
Of course, positively. Positively, he's a disruptor, he's a table shaker. Even if he doesn't win on Saturday, history will never forget him.
Yeah.
Not forget. History will never forget him, because, you know, we are so used to
the one-horse
race. For 16 years, it was PDP and others. Then in 2015, 2019, it's PDP, APC. So this time,
It's changed the dynamics.
Please, just
let me
underrate this man at your own
peril. Yeah. Let's look at the fourth us in race, anything like that. And this is another table shaker, if you call him so.
Exactly.
Underrate him at your own peril, I guess. Robbie Musa Kwankwaso, 66 years of age, born in Kano, two-term governor of Kano State. They have similar credentials, except for the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar.
You know what Kwakwanso also has going for him? Is a GSM. People who call, and they are very elitist club of GSM in Nigeria. Governor, minister, senator. There are not many of them. He's one of them. An engineer by profession, a PhD holder. He comes prepared, and he's a leader of a movement, the Kwakwasia movement. You know, again, this is somebody we cannot ignore.
It could be a disruptor too, isn't it?
It's not it could be. He's a disruptor. Because this is the man that is giving Atiku headache.
For a fact,
he's the one giving Atiku headache.
For a fact, the battleground is in the northwest region.
Exactly.
So and in that sense, I mean, I was reporting about what happened earlier in Kano today. On the street of Kano, he has held things down.
And that is his base. So Kano, Kaduna, Jigawa, Katsina, that's Zamfara, Sokoto, you will see this man spring surprise. And you know, even though some of us may say, oh, it's a three-horse race, Wazobia, so Peter Obi Southeast, Asiwaju Southwest, and Atiku North. It's not so. This man has divided the North.
Has messed up things.
In fact, I said to you, Sheung, this is the man that Turaki fear most. Because he's the one that it could have been, this race would have been over for Atiku, but for this man. And you could see that every pressure has been mounted on him to step down. He has resisted that pressure.
He wanted Peter Obi to be his running.
Yes, he wanted Peter Obi to, and that would have been a perfect. In fact, if the two of them had been on the same joint ticket for 2023, they would have been the party to beat.
All right, today we just have a few minutes left. Let me look at some figures that might be also important for us in this race. So if you look at the age disaggregation of the presidential candidate, the highest age is about between 75 and 76.
76.
Yeah. The lowest age, 38. Average age, 57. Highest age for the vice president, 72. Lowest age, 36. And average age, 52. And if you look at the academic qualification of some of these candidates, you look at it, SSE, there are 18 of them. That's the
basic.
That's the fundamental that the Constitution has prescribed. ND, 1 of them. HND, 2. Bachelor's degree, 8 of them. Master, 6. PhD, 1, and that's Kwankwaso.
That's Kwankwaso, yeah.
For the vice president, we have 2 of them with PhD. 3 with master's degree, 8 with bachelor's degree, 3 with HND, 2 with 2, and 18 with SSCE. So if you look at the breakdown, the total number of the presidential candidates, 18 of them, 17 male, 1 female. This has been recurring. We've always had 1 female presidential candidate, Jude.
And very unfortunately, our party, APM, are sold out. The APM, just this week in Yola, declared support for Atiku Abubakar, thereby leaving Madam Chichi in the lodge, which is very, very unfortunate. Because whatever it is, we need to encourage our women. We are the one advocating for women participation. Now, you could see what happened to Obieze Kwesili in 2019, that she was so frustrated that she has to pull out of the race from 45 days to the race. But let's see what the only female candidate will come up with in terms of votes on Saturday.
There's so much more, Jide. I guess I'll see you tomorrow, because that is another day that we need to, if I dig too much into all of the data that I have here, I won't leave here today. But thank you so much, Jide, for coming. Jide is going to be one of our regular faces. He's one of our election consultants right here on Channels Television. We take a look at some of your election news updates, and I will be having the spokesperson of the Labour Party, Kenneth Okonkwo, will be joining me next. This is the final day of campaign. What will Kenneth tell us tonight? Is the Labour Party and Peter Obi thinking they are going to win it? How? Join us next, everyone.
The leadership of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos State has expressed confidence of the party winning the presidential election on Saturday, February 25. Leaders of the party at the stakeholders meeting in the state said every machinery has been put in place to ensure that the party regains #1 seat in the nation. The governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Abia State, Mr. Alex Oti, has promised that education, health and creation of wealth will be his topmost priorities if elected governor of Abia State. Mr. Oti made a pledge at a forum in Abia State. Oti also promised civil servants and pensioners in the state that his administration will clear all arrears of wages and pensions owed them by the PDP administration within 6 months if elected. The Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, is promising the people of Ipokia local government area of the state that his administration will rebuild the abandoned Ipokia Polytechnic if re-elected as governor. Governor Abiodun stated this during his campaign visit to the local government, where he inaugurated a 3.8 kilometers Ilase-Koko-Alari road in the local government. The Security Council in Edo State says all is set for Saturday's general elections as residents come out to exercise their civic responsibilities without fear. The council also confirmed that at least 11,200 policemen, along with personnel from other security agencies, will be deployed. They also stated that curfew will begin from midnight Friday, February 24 to 6 p.m. Saturday, February 25, by the time which the exercise would have been concluded. The governor of Edo State and chairman of the Security Council, Mr. Gordon Obaseki, also who confirmed this to journalists after a council meeting at the government house in Benin City, also sounded a note of warning to anyone or persons planning mischief during the polls.
Once you are registered, you should vote. And at the end of everything, it is INEC that is going to announce the result.
A socio-ethnic group in Delta State under the umbrella of the Urobo Progressives Union has thrown their weight behind the PDP presidential candidate and his running mate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Ifeanyi Okowa, as well as the state PDP governorship candidate Mr. Sheriff Oborewori. There are calls for local and international observers to be wary by offers by politicians capable of beclouding their judgment. This call is by the professor of political economy and convener of the Big Tent for Obidati, Professor Pat Utomi.
I am calling now for an international election crimes court that will take African leaders that rig elections to international courts and jail them long time.
The candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, has raised an alarm over plans to scuttle and manipulate the Saturday election. Mrs. Akpoti-Uduaghan, at a press conference alongside some other PDP candidates, are alleging that the APC has set up different means of stopping the opposition and barring voters from casting their votes in strongholds of the PDP.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. It's the final day of campaign right here in Nigeria as we prepare for the Saturday election. Let's check with some of those who are looking forward to the votes of Nigerians. I'm being joined by Kenneth Okonkwo, is a spokesperson of the Labour Party. Thank you so much, Kenneth. It's good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
How do you feel?
I feel fantastic, and thank you, viewers, for joining us.
It doesn't look like you've slept so much.
Yeah. Oh, well, you don't be in the battlefield and you, and you keep sleeping. You know?
Yeah. But how do you feel about Saturday?
We feel very optimistic. We feel very good where we are. Obviously, nobody expected we're going to be here today. There were a lot of things they said will fizzle out. Logistics will do this and that. But now, they started the campaign before us, but we ended before them. And in some states, in Kaduna State, for instance, we had 3 campaigns in 3 different zones.
Are you able to go around the whole 36 states and FCT?
I said in each one, we even visited like 2-3 times. In Borno State, we visited Borno State. We did like 3 different campaigns, even in the area that the other 2 cowards have not been able to go. Forgive me, I'm just quoting an instance.
No, but
Najatu,
that word might be unfair.
Najatu Mohammed said, a former campaign director to Tinubu came out publicly to say that Tinubu had no manifesto, had no blueprint for Nigeria or the North. And when she asked him why, he said they will kill him. You can imagine a presidential candidate that is above 70, that has crossed the age of man, who cannot even make a sacrifice for a new Nigeria that he is seeking to govern. He cannot even, he's still afraid of his life, that he has no manifesto. I've always said it from beginning, that he had no manifesto. Has he ever defended anything in any television? Has he been cross-examined? He has said nothing, and he will give nothing if elected. That's not by my words. Najatu Mohammed, former campaign director, he has nothing to offer, and he's not even brave enough.
You don't think that was because she moved out of the party? That was why she was saying all of that?
The question is, why did she move out? Because there is money in APC, and they are willing to throw it around. She moved out because she was beginning to be embarrassed, staying beside a man who, when the national anthem is going on, will raise his two hands. And then somebody will caution him to bring down his hands. National anthem is the song that ushers in a president anytime he's coming in, and is the song that takes him out. A candidate that can no longer recognize his conduct when national anthem is on is a candidate that is unfit to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God is giving us all signs for us to know that APC is confused and they are conflagrating. They are just burning up. Confusion between the three tiers of government: the local government, the state government, the federal government. You can see state governments rebelling against the federal government. Confusion between the three arms of government: the judiciary, the executive. You could see orders of Supreme Court not even interpreted well, not even obeyed. This is a party that has foisted the greatest disorder in this country. And I talk now as a student of management. I was taught that when there is confusion in the corporate level of management, that confusion spreads down to the organization. There is confusion now at the highest level of APC, and that confusion has spread down to the Nigerian people, and Nigerian people are paying for what they don't deserve to pay for. The only solution is very clear. By Saturday, Nigerians should stop being accomplices to this evil structure of corruption, of poverty, of fuel scarcity, of impunity, of illegality, of confusion, of conflagration. They should stop being accomplices to this and vote wisely. Vote for Peter Obi, who has no trace of corruption, who has not been invited even once by any anti-corruption agency, who has discharged himself as the best governor when he was the governor of Anambra State, who has turned the worst security situation, a state where governor is kidnapped and taken to a place and his resignation announced against his consent. That's Anambra State. He took that state and transformed it to be the safest state in Nigeria, with the least poverty rate in Nigeria, with the best road network in Nigeria, with the first in Millennium Development Goal by UNDP. Peter Obi took a worse situation and turned it to the best. According to the presidential candidate of APC, they took a rotten situation and turned it to a bad situation. What have we not seen under APC? May God deliver us on Saturday. May God deliver Nigeria from APC, the incompetent and dishonest party.
I mean, that was the party you belonged to.
Belonged to.
And you
absolutely.
You campaigned very vigorously for the party.
Absolutely. One, because we had two choices, and Atiku Abubakar was not an alternative for me from beginning. I cannot imagine subscribing to vote for a person whose last employer, let me remind you, as long as the Constitution is concerned, the vice president is the sole employee of a sole employer, the president. It is not the duty of the party. It is not the duty of Nigeria to choose the vice president. It is only the duty of the president, one person. And the person that employed Atiku Abubakar, told the whole world that this man has propensity for corruption, tendency to disloyalty, lack of transparency, inability to say and stick to the truth at all times, that he has the tendency for poor judgment, and he uses money to buy his way out on all issues. And then the one that gives me goosebumps, readiness to sacrifice morality, integrity, propriety, truth, national interest for self and selfish interest. I cannot, because the people of Nigeria are the employers of the president. I cannot be an employer after reading these qualifications of anybody, and I will employ that person.
But your principal was a vice presidential candidate to the man you're talking about.
And I told you that I wouldn't have ever looked at the way of Peter Obi if he had been a vice president of an Atiku. And I did not and will not.
We're going to a short break. But why does it look, why is it that the APC and the PDP keep dismissing any chance? They say you do not have a chance in this election at all, that Peter Obi cannot even move anywhere close to winning this election.
Very good. It's part of the strategy of campaign. When you know that this is your greatest threat, you want to discourage people by the psychology that your candidate, your preferred candidate, the preferred candidate of all the youths in Nigeria, the preferred candidate of all the workers. You have seen the NLC give instruction to all the employees in Nigeria to vote Peter Obi. You have seen ADC collapse into Peter Obi. You have seen political parties collapse into Peter Obi.
A faction of ADC, though.
However it is. Good. Now, when they are now threatened by a Peter Obi, the only psychology they want to put out there is to tell the followers, in order to dampen their spirit, no, he will not win. No need to go and vote. They should practice that fraud to men of greater vulnerability. We are not vulnerable in our quest for a new Nigeria. We will continue to show them. On Saturday, you will see all the youths that will vote for Peter Obi. When I was coming in here, one young man, Abdul Saad, he knelt down. He was asking me, begging me. He said, Oga, this suffer too much. No food, no water, no light. Please, don't allow these people to come back to this nation.
We'll take a break now, Mr. Okonkwo. And I would like to know probably how you will convince Nigerians tonight, what chances you have, where you think your candidate can win, or what you think will make Nigerians look in the direction of the Labour Party you call the Mama, Papa, Peking symbol on the ballot. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much indeed, everyone, for staying with us. Kenneth Okonkwo is a spokesperson of the Labour Party. He's been speaking with us on the chances of the party. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
And you were trying to dissect the reasons why you think the PDP and APC are dismissing the chances of Peter Obi in this election. Yeah. But if you say Peter Obi has a chance, where? How? By what margin do you think he could win this election?
Peter Obi is the only candidate now that is sure of some geopolitical zones that he has locked up in the kitty.
Like what?
Southeast, South-South. He's going to take almost 50% of Southwest. Obviously, the sentiments of the evangelicals is there on Muslim ticket that is paraded by the religious party APC. APC has reduced itself to a religious party, where the presidential candidate is Muslim, vice presidential candidate Muslim, Senate president, and they are preparing him for the next one, Muslim, Speaker of the House of Representatives, and they are preparing him for the next one, Muslim, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Muslim, National Chairman of the party, Muslim. At a time, the Chief Justice of Nigeria is a Muslim, thereby making APC completely a religious party who wants to take over the executive, the legislative, and the judicial functions of Nigeria. That's against all the constitutional provisions on federal character, recognizing our diversity, ensuring that the conduct of the affairs of any government and the composition of the government should reflect our federal character. P2B in the North Central, you already know that incumbent governors, you know, when they say some candidates of Labour is moving to other places, incumbents are the one moving to us. You heard when Governor Samuel Otom explicitly said it, that P2B, even at the cost of his own senatorial ambition, I've never seen anything like that, is the best that will happen to this country. That's North Central. Are you going to Northeast?
That's one state in North Central.
Oh, yes. Oh, you forgot. I didn't want to. You have Benue, you have Plateau, you have all the North Central, Kogi, Kwara. We are sure to get half of the population there. Like I said, you will not rule out the sentiment
what are
of
the
the
factors?
Christians.
What are the factors you think will give you almost 50% in this state in the North Central?
Because APC has converted itself to a religious party, and people with sentiments against religious party. It's not against Islam.
So you also are using your religious sentiments?
No.
To call
they
for,
are the ones
votes.
that. Why I resigned from APC is because of the same Fed ticket. I would have done the same if they had used Christians to do that. So the issue here is turning any party to a religious party is against our constitution. Section 222E of the constitution made it illegal. You cannot make any party to have a symbol of a religious party.
But is it also good to use religion to campaign in this election?
No, you use the constitution, you use the laws. Section 15, subsection 1, subsection 2, subsection 3D, subsection 4 condemns the same thing. That section is talking about participation, involvement, integration of people without regard to religion, ethnicity. So no discrimination is allowed.
Yes, on this program yesterday, there was an APC chieftain and there was a PDP chieftain. Both of them seemingly agreed on one thing.
Yes.
And that what they agreed is that P2B cannot win this election. In fact, Najetu said that if in our own senatorial district, that not a single billboard or poster of Labour Party exists.
Good. We are talking about the people being our structure. In those places she's talking about, let her recall the rallies that took place there even before we started our campaign. In all the states of the Federation, those rallies were organic, and they were Nigerian people, and they will vote for us. But most importantly, in 1984-85, President Buhari lined up 3 youths and shot them. He killed them for drug-related offenses, showing his outright hatred for drug trafficking. It will be against God for him to hand over to a man who, within that period, 1984-85, was reaching an out-of-court settlement with a court in the United States for his involvement in drug trafficking. The barons that sent those people that Buhari killed, if Buhari hands over to Tinubu, God will judge him. Because Tinubu paid $460,000 US to spare his head from going to jail. What about in 1984-85? Buhari sent some politicians to hundreds of years in jail for corruption. And now Atiku has confessed that he used special purpose vehicle to create phony companies for which he paid consultancy fee, and from which the consultancy fee was paid back to them. To him, he said it openly. His voice is there. Buhari is supposed to send him to jail. The 2 people that deserve the prison, I don't know what they are looking for in the presidency.
You're making this allusion to issues that are largely very controversial.
Michael Achimugu said it. Nobody has sued him for defamation, libel, or slander.
Yeah, but these are issues that these candidates themselves and their parties have controversially said that this does not exist. So in that sense, this might not be the right place to categorically make those an outright statement.
Atiku was asked about the issue of Achimugu by BBC. You know what he said? We've passed over that. He offered no defense. It's done on record. Has Tinubu come out to defend himself on the drug-related issues. The certified true copy of the document is there. Let the candidates come out and defend themselves. When they talked about my candidate in Pandora Papers, but he came out and was interrogated, and he defended himself, presenting all the facts.
Because of the, because
and he was exonerated.
My question exactly is how your candidate will win this election.
Let me tell you now in practical terms.
Now, in any sense, have you been, just a moment, have you been able to convince the Nigerian people that what your candidate will do in those campaigns that he has done?
Yes.
What kind of feeling do you think Nigerians have? Are they convinced enough to go with the message that Peter Obi had given to them on the podium to vote for him?
If Nigerians were not convinced, we wouldn't even have made any impact, because we didn't have money to give them. We only had our manifesto, which Najatu Mohammed said is the only manifesto that is convincing. The only thing she said, that it's a movement, that they don't have structure. And that is the lie that they are portraying, to see whether it can dampen the zeal of the obedience. Now, let me tell you, they told you that we have only 30,000 agents. INEC has brought out their list, official, where we have 130-something thousand agents, plus the 90-something thousand agents of ADC, which we knew before now that we are going into alliance with them. So we have 230 polling unit agents now, presently. No other party has it. Why are you still listening to the lies of these compulsive liars? I have told you that there is nothing they do except lying. They will always say my principal is a trader, and he's talking about production. You know why? They exhibit ignorance in business. I read business management as an expert. Any man that is planning for production where there is no distribution is actually destroying producers, because the production chain is only complete when there is distribution from the point of production to the point of consumption. Without it, the producer will be put in a more precarious situation. When you make eggs and nobody comes to take it, to sell it, you know what happens? The money you borrow to make that eggs, the production will be destroyed.
All right,
I know of a country, Dubai. Dubai established its own economy on trade because it's an arid country. So brilliantly they started with trade. No production. When the whole world saw the efficiency in their trade, they know that trading is a chain in production chain.
Mr. Kenneth,
the whole world is producing all their goods
wrap up
in
quickly.
Dubai.
Yeah, let's wrap up now.
Because of their trading efficiency.
So
Nigerians have accepted our manifesto,
if your candidate
shifting emphasis from consumption to production, including trading, which ensures the distribution of the goods from the point of production to the point of consumption.
Let's quickly wrap up. My final question to you would be, if you are not able to win this election on Saturday, what would you think would have been the reason?
I told you before that the election is stolen. And it's obvious. If you have seen,
if you don't win,
you have seen Bola Ahmed Tinubu saying, snatch it at all costs. If he will win, will he say that? It's a fight for it at all costs. Grab it, snatch it, run with it. If Bola Tinubu knows that he will win in a fair context, will he talk about snatching it? So anyway, let me use this opportunity to tell you that they just assassinated and killed our senatorial candidate in Enugu State by evil powers. Senatorial candidate of Enugu East, Oyibo Chukwu, he's dead. I thought they said we don't have structure. Why are they implementing what Tinubu said? Fight for it at all costs. Grab it, snatch it.
That's categorical. And
let me use the opportunity to offer my condolences and to tell obedience that
Kenneth,
they should not back down.
Kenneth, I mean, you just make allusion to the death of someone. Mentioning another person's name.
That's what he said.
In relation to that.
No, that is what he said.
He
told his followers.
Right. No, but you can't relate with the death of your candidate.
I am not saying I'm relating it. I said this thing before, that when a leader makes such statement, even some followers that are not directly linked to him can be influenced on
it might be, what you're saying might be inciting. That's why I said we should
No.
So finally, you said if you don't win, it means it's stolen.
Yes.
Are you saying that this election will not be free and fair?
I have my
You don't
doubts.
think INEC is ready for this
Now,
election?
the intelligence that is getting to us now is telling us that the ballot paper does not have the acronyms of the parties.
But you cannot verify that.
No, that is the intelligence that is getting to us now. You won't see LP. You will just see the logo. Mama, Papa, Peking. And then you know that PDP and APC, they have APC and PDP enshrined in their logo. So all these monkey tricks. And you know that the REC of Lagos State has said that Igbo people migrated to Lagos. And the PVCs in Oshodi Isolo. I've had the opportunity to call the INEC commissioner to talk with a voter there that could not find her PVC, a doctor that left her office for many times to go look for her PVC and still did not get it. And you saw the names they were calling, Chukwuebeka, Chigozie, in Lagos State. That is already rigging. I have my fears. Prophet Mahmoud, for refusing to remove the REC of Lagos State, seeing these obvious things, he's my suspect.
All right. Kenneth, we now have to leave it at that because we still have other spokespersons of other political parties to speak with on the program tonight. But thank you so much indeed. I know these are a very tense moment in our elections. But thank you so much indeed, Kenneth Okonkwo, the spokesperson of the Labour Party. Appreciate it. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll be hearing some responses and talk about the chances of Atiku Abubakar and that of Bola Tinubu. Daniel Buwala, spokesperson of the PDP, will be joining me next. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. That's Daniel Buwala, spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, since joined us right here on the program. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
You were here in the studio and you listened to your very good friend Kenneth Okonkwo.
Yes.
You think your party stand a chance in this election?
Yes. You know, Kenneth Okonkwo, by the way, let me just get that off the chest. He believes that Labour Party is living in bondage because he's used to be an actor and living in bondage. But this is our case. So elections are upon us. From the commencement of this electioneering process, we filed our pleadings as contained in our manifesto. And in the pleading, as claimants, we came before the Nigerian people. And we made out a case. During the campaign rallies and debate, we call witnesses. We have endorsements, we have points of contact, we have engagement, we have interactions and all that. And the case we made out was very straightforward. So today, we're adopting our final address. And what are the issues have we formulated? Case number one, has APC made out a case, having regard to the last 8 years, have they made out a case that warrant the Nigerian people to vote them? And our argument is in the negative, because now nobody wants to have another 4 years of the last 8 years. There is not a single person you see on the street, and you ask them whether they will want the last 8 years to be repeated. Even in their dreams, they will not. Why? APC made out a case of 3 points. They lost in every one of them. This assessment for their failure is not just observed, is not observed by us. The Nigerian people have done that, and that culminated in Naira policy, which Nigerian people will act. Issue number two, having ruled out the possibility of the Nigerian people voting the APC, the issue number two is that, having regard to the other political parties who are in contest, has PDP made out a case that warrant PDP to be voted for over and against them? And our answer is in the affirmative. And the point is straight. Atiku clearly, from his manifesto, has laid out 5 points that so far experts and economists have reached an assessment. And they said that of all the manifestos, ours present actually a better path to the future. But above everything that is in the manifesto and the argument that has been made so far, Atiku is coming into this with superior experience over and above the other candidate, by the virtue of the fact that he has had the opportunity of sitting in that seat of national government. This is an exceptional opportunity that the other candidates didn't have. And more so, at this time where the situation is so dire and existential, you cannot afford to give this nation at this time to a learner, to an amateur, or somebody who does not understand. If you go to Peter Obi, all he will tell you is Anambra. Nigeria is beyond the sphere of Anambra. If you meet Tinubu, he will call Lagos for you.
The dynamics in the north, in the west, and the rest of the places are not the same.
You don't think a track record matter in these ways?
I believe track record is much more fundamental, and both of them have not been able to establish a track record. For example, the Lagos of Tinubu, as early as at last year, mid-last year, it was adjudged as the second worst city to live and work in. The Lagos of Tinubu is a Lagos where up till this moment people deliver and give birth in the slums. The Lagos of Tinubu is the Lagos that right now you have not been able to overcome what we call the traffic problem. But beyond that, the character of the candidate that governs Lagos is a dynastic type. So when he comes to national government, while he's trying to grapple with the realities of what the national government is, he's going to bring in, because he has always said, I will do here what I did in Lagos. What did he do in Lagos? In Lagos, the State House of Assembly they were like boy, what they say. His daughter is the Iyaloja of Lagos. So that means the entire market people of Nigeria will be under the control of his daughter. His son controls a certain part of entertainment in Lagos. And then you have his brother who is owning Owando and entered into a transaction with NNPC, which has not been cleared for the acquisition. He probably would have taken over the oil blocks in the country. So there is not a record there. Now, if you come to the record of Peter Obi, I consider him like a falcon, somebody with promise, but he has not yet matured. Why? Because in the 8 years he governed in Anambra, the infrastructure of Anambra up till date is decayed. And this is testified by people who have succeeded him. He did not, instead of investment, he put the money of Anambra into a bank called Fidelity Bank, to which he was a chairman, and gave the impression that he believed in savings. He talked about, what do you call it for production? That's
Consumption to production.
Consumption, their trademark is consumption to production through agrarian. Now, what is it about this policy that can be juxtaposed with his life? Because you just talked about track record. All of his life, all of his business is production. I mean, it's consumption, never a production. He took all of his wealth that could have been used in Nigeria to recruit people when you open up businesses. He took it outside the shores of Nigeria and hid them up under a trust. When Premium Times confronted him about the fact that he hid the money there, he said he did not know at the time that there was anything like Code of Conduct law. But Code of Conduct is what is taught in elementary school. Atiku, on the other hand, put all of his investment in the country by establishing different companies for which Nigerians were recruited, empowering their lives, open up schools to empower people on education. So when Atiku comes on board and says, I want to look at education, it is not just in the mouth. Where is the school established by Peter Obi? None. Where is the school established by Asiwaju? None. Now, where are the companies that Atiku can point at and say, it's my company? They are all over the places. Peter Obi, apart from the department store, which of course everybody knows, in the case of Tinubu, where is his company?
So, I mean, have you been able to convince Nigerians enough to get their vote? You spent the last few months doing that.
Right. We have been able to, in my view, convincingly persuaded the Nigerian people in comparison and in comparative analysis to look at us as a people with viable option. Why? Because what we have identified, for example, national unity. When you see the Americans talk about the American dream and the pride of the American, is because they build a nation around a consensus of equal opportunities. So an American in Florida gets the same opportunity as the American in New York. That is not what we have seen here. APC has mismanaged the unity. If you go to a part of Nigeria today, they will tell you they don't believe they will ever be president. Or there are certain things they can't even dare.
Do you think that Nigerians can trust your candidate, who's you've explained his track record,
right,
and perhaps make a judgment of what they've seen in the 16 years of the PDP to the APC, then perhaps what he wants to do differently based on his manifesto? And if there is one thing that you can pinpoint on in his manifesto and you don't have any other chance at all to say a second one, what would that be about your candidate?
Atiku Abubakar will structure Nigeria. Atiku Abubakar believes 70% of the problems we are confronted with in the country, if we are better restructured, that we can address that. So insecurity problem has a part in the structuring. Equal opportunities, economic opportunities to people has a restructuring component. Education has a restructuring component. And in all these other areas that he talked about. Now, an Atiku has lived that life. Atiku has had it before. In 1999, when they came on board, they were all like freshmen in the college. Obasanjo had to go around the world to seek for debt cancellation and reduction. Atiku was tasked with the responsibility of headhunting people that will run the economy. Look at the individuals today. They are in some of them have gone to be finance minister, CBN governor, all of Nigeria. He headhunted them, and they cut across the country. There was not an issue of, he gave this part of the country more opportunities than the other. That's why today, you talk about trust. There is no part of Nigeria Atiku Abubakar will go into. There will not be room for him to sleep. There will not be people for him to engage with.
So you look at the PDP,
Right.
and that's where I started my question from. Can Nigerians trust the PDP again?
Yes, Nigerians have now seen, like the way they say, when you don't chop rice and beans, you go know which one be better. Nigerians have seen PDP in 16 years. And during this period of 16 years, Nigerians saw the establishment of critical infrastructure of the government that preserve our democracy, such as ICPC, EFCC, and many others. Nigerians also saw all the good and the bad of PDP and the range within which they didn't go past that. It was during this period that PDP presented Nigeria as the largest economy. I remember in those days when students in the university, if your CGPA is 4.0, you get 300,000. There is no scholarship in APC. They rather keep them at home. And I remember during that time, they introduced concept of creativity. If you are a student and you come up with any creative ideas, they go ahead and preserve that your intellectual right. We don't see that anymore. Even in terms of developing a broad-based approach to economic growth and development. During the days of PDP, you saw the value chain to a point where that man that is on the street is able to have a recharge card pocket place, kiosk, and people are more productive during that time than now. Now, these people introduce a socialist ideology, 100% socialist ideology. Everybody depends on the government. And the kind of corruption that APC presented, during PDP, they said it was so corrupt that APC was going to present a different path. In this APC, have you not reported mosquito, all kinds of animals swallowing money? You have reported that. There is part to, and they talked about we didn't have resources, we didn't have resources. All you need to do, 10.1 trillion was realized, I think last year or so, by our internally generated institution. What have they done with it? Is borrowing, borrowing, borrowing. Now, if you look at the manifesto of APC and Asiwaju, you will discover that every promise that he put in there, unless he can show that there's a plan to create production, generate Nigerians to everything is about borrowing. And they may end up borrowing your intestine, your kidney, and every part of your being for the things that they want to do. But much more than that, they can't be trusted because Nigerians have seen it in the last 8 years. The last 8 years is the worst that has ever happened in the history of the Republic, even from when Nigeria gained independence. We have seen the worst of Nigeria in the last 8 years. Nobody will want another 4 years of the last 8 years. They've been dismissed. In terms of Peter Obi, I was granting interview to international media yesterday when they were asking of his phenomenon. I said Peter Obi is packaged by 3 elements. Element number 1, somebody wanted a third term, and Peter Obi present that path. Element number 2, Peter Obi presents himself as an opportunistic person. There was a movement and he cashed into it. He does not believe in any of the ideology because the white man was asking me if Peter Obi is like a revolutionary like Macron. Macron had ideology. Macron built. Was Peter at any material time with the NSAS? Have you seen Peter in any activities around the policies they gather?
You don't think that his popular slogan of taking Nigeria from consumption to production is any kind of ideology?
It's the biggest scam actually, because one, when you say you're taking Nigeria from consumption to production, there are 2 ways you can do that. One, clearly define the how. And number 2, say, I have done it before, I will do it again. This is what Atiku has been saying. When he talked about education or restructuring, national unity, after he outlined them and defined them, he will say, I did it before, I'll do it again. Now, Peter Obi's business is a consumption-based business. Even to the toothpick is imported. When you talk about production, when you establish school and train people, is production economy. You are translating the country from agrarian economy to a service-based economy, and then you are going to a knowledge-based economy. 3, Peter Obi is a bigot. And allow me to explain, because I'm not saying that with a negative tone. If you look at the definition,
A bigoted person is somebody who is so fixated to a particular person that he used that as a basis to discriminate the other. In other words, Peter Obi is the direct opposite of APC. And you ask them the question here. One is extreme on religious identity, the other one on religious. We need a balance. Now, Peter Obi, even among the Christians, we're not talking about Christians and Muslims, he divided them.
But how is your candidate different? You seem to be speaking more about Peter Obi. Does he look like a threat to your party?
No. We answer questions. Can I be honest with you?
Go ahead, please.
I told him yesterday in the international television. I said, you might be shocked to wake up in the morning and see that you have over-bloated and overestimated Peter. We did a research. 57.3% of the engagement for Peter Obi on social media were algorithm manipulated. And most of these people are both or that they don't even live in Nigeria. So when Peter Obi stepped out of the social media and went into the mainstream reality in campaigns and rallies, what did you see? You didn't see anything there. And they will tell you, we know they give shishi. Peter Obi arguably has been spending the shishi, and we have seen that from reporting in Jos, in Potiskum, and in every part. Above all, sir, they say Peter Obi is a new phenomenon. And the reason why I'm saying that is to be able to answer, in what area is Peter Obi a phenomenon? This is a politician for over 20 years. This is a politician who has been a governor. This is a politician in the past 20 years of his politics cannot point at one thing that he did to suggest his belief in the young people. He did not empower young people in his state. He cannot.
So that's what I'm asking. You seem to be fixated, and you are perhaps the words you use to describe Peter Obi is what is playing out. You seem to be fixated about Peter Obi, and I'm saying, does he look like a threat for the chances of your candidate?
And the answer is simple, like I told you. I have dismissed APC with a swoop by one definition. The Nigerian people will not want 4 years of the last 8 years. I established those things to you. I don't need to go further to talk about why Nigerians should not vote for Asiwaju. There is not a single day in their campaign there was no gaffe. I am telling you the truth and I lie not, that Nigerians people cannot vote APC. And it is not just about Asiwaju, it's about the party. That is the logo that you will see on the day of election. Now, the reason I'm reacting to Peter Obi is because the questions that come to us, they tend to try to suggest that Peter Obi is a new phenomenon, Peter Obi is liked, Peter Obi is this. Let me even tell you the aspect of religion, and I address my people. Most of the people that he used religious sentiment to steer their emotion in this election, to make it seem that on one side it is jihad, on the other side it is a Christian war. Let me tell you today, for every single Christian that vote for Peter Obi, they are voting for Asiwaju. That's why Asiwaju they are watching. I got intelligence not more than 3 weeks ago. That do you know that Asiwaju and APC sponsored some of the people that went for Peter Obi's rally just to keep him alive in the race? Because they felt as long as he's alive, he will take away the vote of the of PDP. So for anybody...
So is it true that he's going to take away the vote of PDP?
Sentimental vote, quite frankly, he will.
Where? Which areas are these?
Where the votes he take, he will take part of the votes in the southeast. He will take small part in the south. But let me tell you, and now I'm going to be frank, very frank with you. Peter Obi, the last time I said he will not win any state in the north. But between that time and now, 1 or 2 things have happened. I can concede to one state in the north that Peter Obi will win. But let me say something.
Which state is that?
It should be obvious. Now, the governor of that state is religiously inclined to that agenda and has used a bad rhetoric for it. But hear this, and it will shock you. To be a president, you must be accepted by every part of Nigeria. That's why the requirement is you must score 25% in 24 states of the federation. Now, they talk about youth. The youth are with him. The youth want to take Nigeria. Hold a minute so you don't become discriminatory. More youth are in PDP. And I can say that even in APC than in Labour. So to assume that Peter Obi is the movement of the youth in Nigeria is nothing more than discriminatory, because the youth in PDP have also the right, they have the right, first of all, to stay with the establishment if they so wish, but we are not even establishment. So this is the point I'm saying. Peter Obi does not give me a sleepless night, but everywhere we go, we get confronted by Peter Obi phenomenon. In fact, here on your show, as soon as I entered, your first question was, your friend left. So when people want us to react, we have to be able to tell them. But Peter Obi is highly overrated. highly overestimated. Imagine, I want you for a moment to close your eyes and imagine Peter Obi sits in the seat of power as the president. Probably does not have more than 3 people in both houses of the National Assembly. Where will he perform production to consumption? Where will he perform? Now, people who are intelligent, they know you win election, you win a substantial number in the National Assembly, then your objective can be achieved. Secondly, Peter Obi and Dati, till this day, have not been able to define in simple terms their security objective for the Nigerian people. They have not. They will say, trust us when we go there. They will never do anything. Has Peter Obi denounced IPOB?
I guess enough about talking about Peter Obi, because then I've asked you 3 consecutive questions. You kept going back to Peter Obi. So I doesn't. No, but you've campaigned more for Peter Obi than you have campaigned for your. So if there is, you've considered that Peter Obi is likely to take Southeast and some part of South.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I say he will get some votes. Let me tell you, PDP is winning 3 states, not less than 3 states in the Southeast.
What about South?
PDP is winning all but 1, and that one maybe or maybe not. And let me tell you today.
Which one is that?
You would also know
that. Is it Rivers?
No, certainly not Rivers.
So PDP is going to win Rivers?
PDP is
in your
winning
books?
Rivers clean. And I bet you, PDP will win Rivers. Let me tell you something.
I'm amazed that you're confident.
Let me tell you just why. They started out as Jackson 5. If you know the story of Michael Jackson and his group, who was the first person that broke out of that, the Jackson 5? It was Michael Jackson. Didn't you hear a story credited to one of the governors who said he deceived us? We all agreed to go this way and he going the other way. That crashed his entire political career. Do you think that Rivers will agree to the NM ticket? I want to ask you soul-searching question.
If Atiku does not win this race, what would you say would have been the cause?
What would have been the cause?
If you lost.
Now, let me put it this way, and he said it. He said, if I lose this election and it's free and fair, I will accept it as my fate. But let me tell you today, these elections are not going to be conducted on social media. You know, Peter Obi has already won the presidency on social media. All the polls you are seeing, that is a different world. He has won that presidency. On Saturday, we are going to the reality check, where Peter Obi will not be able to see the light of the day. Now, in what area or in what way will Atiku lose the election? Sheun, if you finish this program and you walk out of this place, you may not want to be seen on camera, but you will lament the last 8 years. Your fortune would have been much better than it is today, only because they destroyed opportunity. If you know anybody, I know you will not answer, and I'm not suggesting you should answer, that is going to vote and the person tells you he's going to vote APC, I am very sure you will not want it. And I'm not asking you to agree or to disagree. But
the question that I'm asking, that then brings is, how does that help the cause of your candidate? Has he been able to convince Nigerians enough that the votes should come in his way?
So this is going to be the 3rd time you ask the same question, because you want me to always believe that you are consistent with the question and I'm not answering. You asked the first question, and my answer was, 1, Atiku brings to the table experience that none of them have. And I established what I mean by that. I said Atiku brought a manifesto with a well-defined agenda for Nigeria that 3rd parties are judged that is the best comparable to the others. Then the 3rd one, I said for the purposes of uniting Nigeria, you need a leader that will bring everybody together. And I told you, I beat my chest. I say Atiku, there is no part of the country. Let me even tell you this, sir. Which part of the East will Tinubu go to? Do you know what they did to them in APC primaries? They charged them all up to go and run for president and chase them all out of that place. Tinubu cannot go to anywhere in the Southeast apart from 1 or 2 people that for business reasons will talk to him. Where will he go to in the South? And above all, the winner of this election is the winner of Northwest. All
right. Let me get your final thought on this one.
Yeah.
And I asked Kenneth, and probably it would be right for me to ask, stylishly I ask you a similar question. If your candidate lose out in the election of Saturday, what would you say would have been the cause?
What would have been the cause?
Yeah, for his loss.
Well, the only thing that will make him lose is if it is rigged. But if it is free and fair and he loses, he will accept it in good faith. It's free democracy. There have been many elections he has conducted. Heavens didn't fall. But you have had the label, and that is the bigoted part. And when you hear about obedient. Now, a few days ago, a very renowned pastor in Nigeria who has been marketing Peter Obi, saw the light. And he said, Peter Obi is not that person. They nearly finished him on social media. That has been the trend. When I left APC, they were all praising me on social media. I was just seeing my followers, PDP. When I declared for PDP, there is nothing I did not hear. These are the people that he is inflaming. He is not the person. Aswaji is not the person. Shewun on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it is concluded, I'll be the first person to come here. And you will tell me, Daniel Bwala, well done for good work. Congratulations. The next president was the person you represented as his spokesman.
If you were a prophet, I would say we'll see about it. But since you're a lawyer and a spokesperson of your party, and you know, I know you're speaking politically, so we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much, Daniel Bwala, spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, and Atiku Abubakar in the presidential election. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
We take a break, and when we come back, I will be joined by Mr. Dele Alake. He's the special advisor to Bola Tinubu in this race, and he's the one in charge of public affairs for the APC PCC. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's now switch gears now and look in the way of the APC. I'm being joined by the Director of Strategic Communications of the Bola Tinubu Shetima APC Presidential Campaign Council, Mr. Dele Alake. Thank you so much indeed for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me, but let me correct the title. The title. It's been mixed up severally.
There's been a lot of titles recently. No?
Mohammed Idris is the Director of Communications.
Oh, really?
Yes, Strategic Communications. I'm the Special Advisor on Media, Communications, Public Affairs.
Interesting. Right. Oh, so it's good to see you. How's it going with your campaign?
Very, very well. You know, we wound up the rallies 2 days back in Lagos. And today we're winding up all campaigns just to follow the laid down regulations. By midnight tonight, there will be no more. I have actually issued a statement to that effect. No more advertorials, commercials, jingles, whatever, you know, from our camp from midnight tonight to follow the laid down rules and regulations.
That's what the law says.
Yes,
so,
yes. But it's been very exhilarating campaign so far.
Yeah.
Very exciting. And it's a familiar terrain to us, so there are no surprises. And we've been quite elated at the enthusiastic reception that our candidate has received all over the country. And I'm sure you and all Nigerians will see and attest to the fact of the tumultuous crowd that attended his rallies everywhere. You saw the grand finale in Lagos. I mean, there has been nothing, no party has ever evinced such animation, natural animation from the people. And, you know, it was just too exciting. It was interesting to watch them lining the route from Ikeja Airport all the way to the stadium, Surulere Stadium. In fact, personally, I've been involved in, as a participant observer in campaigns and elections in this country in the last 40 years. I haven't seen that kind of crowd lining the route. I mean, enthusiastically, naturally, from Ikeja Airport to the... You know how many kilometers that's...
Yeah, but Tinubu is not seeking votes alone in Lagos State. I mean, he's looking for votes across the country. Right. And statutorily is what the law says. He needs to win 24 states.
Correct.
And the FCT.
Correct.
So, in that sense, has the campaign given you that confidence to say, with all of what we have seen, you are home and dry?
That's what I just said. That everywhere he went, or we went for the rallies, in every part of this country, the reception has been exhilarating. It's been inviting. It's been invigorating. It's been interesting.
Just by the look of the crowd.
Believe you me, not just by the look. Don't forget that after each rally, he will go into meetings with either the traditional rulers, the opinion leaders, religious leaders, all the stakeholders in the states that we went, everywhere. He had interactive sessions with all of these people, and everywhere we came to the conclusion that he's the man to beat. He's taking the trophy.
So there are a few issues in this campaign which a lot of Nigerians watch, and millions of them tonight will perhaps You are perhaps by so many reasons, you are one of the closest person to Bola Tinubu, and they will probably need some clarity and convincing tonight. Some of the people that I've spoken with tonight had put a question mark on the fitness of your candidate. What do you have to say to that?
Thank you very much for that question. I always say in my submissions, whether at lectures, symposia, analysis and interviews, that we must have the capacity to analyze situations. And as media folks, we don't just assume or receive information and then dish it out without analyzing it. Now, if you analyze the campaign since September when it started, empirically speaking, there's no candidate that has traversed the length and breadth of Nigeria as much as Tinubu, not half as much as Tinubu. There is no candidate that has gone into interactive sessions, the town hall meetings that others copied. Tinubu initiated it with the famous Lagos town hall meeting at a hotel with the business, the organized private sector. That was a first town hall meeting by any candidate in this campaign season. He initiated it at a hotel. And subsequently, he has done 15 across the country, across a broad strata of society, civil society, farmers, miners, agri people, all kinds of labor unions. He has interacted with all of these people, and he has gone everywhere. No candidate, if we are honest with ourselves, no candidate has worked half as hard as Bola Tinubu in this campaign season. Now, can anybody who doesn't have a good health do that? Can anybody with some kind of ailment put himself through that punishing schedule, all through, without let or hindrance, campaigning back to back on a daily basis, and interacting with people, with different stakeholders in this society?
Why do your opponents believe that your candidate is not fit?
That's propaganda. You call a dog a bad name to hang it, because, again, they have nothing, no issues, no germane issues to argue with Bola Tinubu. Now, when you know that you don't have any serious issue of substance to discuss in this campaign, you resort to the gutter snipe, you resort to negativity, you resort to invectives and expletives, because there's no substance. They don't have substance. Atiku doesn't have substance. Obi does not have substance. Obi is one of the flukes thrown up by this campaign. Obi has never answered a question in a straightforward manner. He goes in a circumlocuous manner, gerrymandering, and at the end of the day, it's all smoke. It ends up in smoke, no substance, nothing concrete you can bring out of it. He spews up all kinds of inanities in terms of statistics, false statistics. At the end of the day, they all end up as flashes in the pan. Now, Atiku has been one of the most consistently inconsistent politicians that this Nigeria has ever witnessed. Since 1993, Atiku has been a serial loser in this game. And he has been in the PDP, he jumped ship, he was provided a platform by this same Asiwaju Tinubu in 2006, 2007. I wasn't told, I was there. I was a participant observer in that process. Atiku came to AC/ACN, then jumped back to PDP when his ambition wasn't realized there. And then when he saw that his ambition also failed to be realized in PDP, jumped ship again to APC. And then when he couldn't clinch the ticket in APC, jumped back to, come on. Come on.
Your opponents will easily say.
The same thing with Obi. Yeah. He was in ABGA, jumped to PDP. When he couldn't, then bought the ticket.
Does that take away the capacity of them running the affairs of this country?
It does, in a sense. Look, one of the attributes of good progressive leadership anywhere in the world is vision, knowledge, and courage. These three critical attributes, Asiwaju has them. These other three don't. And consistency is a factor of courage or boldness. Whether the situation suits you or not, if you are consistent, it shows a strength of character, which they don't have. So it takes a lot away from their capacity to rule this country.
When you say this, Mr. Lake, I mean, easily your opponent will pick holes in whatever you have said, and they have said it severally, that your candidate and your principal is a man who said he's had an eternal dream of wanting to be president of this country.
Is that a crime?
And I mean, you are
having a dream. Is that a crime?
No, you speaking
Even
about
Martin Luther King had a dream that one day the black man will be liberated in the U.S. and it came to pass when Obama became president of the U.S.
Is that some kind of fiction?
Having a dream is not a crime.
But
it is when you give it a negative connotation, depending on your political perspective, that you then turn it into a negative thing. It's not a crime.
So is that a fixation?
No.
And it comes to the question of when
again,
said
that is
the popular
a negative connotation of dreaming. Having a dream is different from having a fixation. Now, when you have a fixation, go and look at the definition of it. If you have a fixation on something that is positive, you could have a fixation to correct the ills of this country. That's not necessarily a crime, nor negative. It's when you have a fixation on something negative that you can then begin to question the motive and the rationale for that. But having a fixation or a dream to be president of this country, to write when you know that you have what it takes to really take the country, extricate it from the quagmire, as it were, that's not a negative.
So it's a must for Tinubu to be president of this country.
Oh, why should it be a must?
That's what I'm asking.
You said a
dream.
Is it a
fixation?
And I said a dream is not necessarily a crime, nor negative. So a fixation can also be a positive fixation.
Where we are coming from was the point where you said Atiku Abubakar has been jumping.
Yeah, that is inconsistent.
That's probably a dream
Even
that he had.
in this last currency issue, he has shown himself as inconsistent. And you know it. Nigerians know it. There's no point arguing that. It's a fact.
Let me allow you to be able to respond, because this is a very good opportunity for you to be able to deal with a lot of issues that have been brought up, not only tonight, but severally. In fact, one of the guests tonight is at peak old in part of fitness, who said cognitively that they do not trust your candidate and your principal, that in fact, at some point in a rally, there was a national anthem being sung, and your candidate raised his both hands up, raising his walking stick and raised it up. I mean, how do you explain those kind of situation?
Right.
Because these are issues that are out there anyways, and they have also raised question about some of what they have described as a faux pas of some mistakes that have been made by your candidate. How do you describe it, or how do you respond to it?
Every human being, no human being is infallible, including you and I. We also make our own slips. You make your own slips. I make mine. And you are not his age. You are not at his status. You don't go through the kind of schedule that he goes through. Atiku has been seen making gaffes and faux pas severally. Obi, who claims to be the symbol of the youth, has been seen making gaffes. And in fact, I just said, spewing out false statistics and inanities, and being very verbose and nebulous in responses. So having a gaffe here and now and then is also common to all leaders. It's not peculiar to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. However, anything that pertains to Tinubu, because he's the man to beat, it is taken out of proportion. It is exaggerated. It's overblown. Now, there's, in my part of the country where I come from, there's an adage that says that it is only the tree that is full of fruits that people throw stones at. You never see people throwing stones at a dry tree without fruits. It's because Asiwaju is the man to beat, is the front runner, and all the others are throwing stones at him. They exaggerate whatever it is that is associated with Asiwaju, whereas all others have the same or worse gaffes, faux pas, or errors,
the question,
so there's no big deal about that. That does not, look, when you want to know a man's capacity, it is not the fact that he makes a slip that is human, like everybody else, you have to look at a man who says he wants to be president. We want to see where he's coming from. When he had the opportunity to be in public office, what did he do? What were the enduring legacies and structures that he put in place that people can point at today? Obi was governor too for 8 years. Ashiwaju was governor too for 8 years. I do not see a mass of people rushing from Lagos to go and live in Anambra. Whereas the reverse is the opposite. I mean, it's the situation. People rush from Alhambra to come and live in Lagos. If Lagos were not to be made so conducive, that won't happen. Where did Obi hold his own grand finale rally? Did he hold it in Alhambra? He held it in Lagos. Ashiwaju held his own in Lagos. Atiku held his own in Adamawa. Obi held his own in Lagos. Why didn't he hold it in Anambra? If he performed and left enduring legacies that will be a testament to his capacity and capabilities to go higher. So these are issues that should be put in the front burner, not inanities, mundane, ridiculous, issues that don't have any direct impact on the capacity and the track record of those who want to be our president, our leader.
We're due for a break, and perhaps one of the questions or the crux of the question is, because here on this platform, on this channel, we're known for staying on the issues and we deal with the meat of the matter. The question is, if you talked about Bola Tinubu and his track record, how much of the trust can Nigerians give him now? So we'll come back from the break and we'll hear more from Mr. Dele Alake. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's continue our conversation with Mr. Dele Alake. I'll take you to 79 and 83 elections. And I think it was Dele Momodu, or who was it, that was positing that anytime there is being two strong southern candidates against a very strong northern candidate, that the northern candidate usually come out victorious. In your press conference yesterday, you said there was no pathway for Obi to win this election.
True.
Looks like you're underrating the man.
I'm not underrating Obi. I have studied Obi and his system, as it were. And I've seen that it's a total roller coaster con game. There's no substance to Obi. Obi has, I give this to him, successfully cashed in on the anger of the youth against the establishment. He cashed in on it simply because the youth, largely the uninformed segment of the youth, because not all the members of the youth class that are uninformed. There are quite a number of very well-informed members, and they know, and they have analytical capacity, and they do backgrounding. Now, when you do all of this, you know that Obi is not there. That's why I said in that press conference that there's no pathway to victory. Now, the 79-83 that you said Momodu referred to, that doesn't hold water here at all. In 79, we had the UPN dominating the West.
Yeah, the MPN.
In the north, and then
MPP in
the east. Then, as it were. Because we didn't really have these six geopolitical structures at that time. It was like 3-4 at that time. So this is not the situation today. Now, today, you have 6 geopolitical zones, and then you have 3 major candidates. That's Ashiwaju, Tinubu, Atiku, and Obi.
What about Kwankwaso?
Kwankwaso is not major in my books because he's only influential around the old Kano zone. The old Kano zone now comprising Kano and Jigawa. Now, take him out of there, is on tenterhooks.
And he said that anybody who underrates him we'll be ready for the shocker.
Any politician can say anything anyway.
Are you ready for a possible
we
shocker?
are analysts, so we don't go by what they say. We analyze.
Are you preparing for a possibility of a surprise in this race?
Well, the surprise will be to Obi and Atiku, not to us, because we are winning. Asiwaju will win, and that will surprise Obi and Atiku.
What would be the pathway for Tinubu's win?
Thank you very much. Like I said earlier on, when you want to come to lead a people, the people must have the presence of mind to look at your past. It is the past that will make people, give people informed judgment on how or why they should trust you with their future. Now, if you have not really shown up any concrete evidence of good governance, of laying enduring structures where you had an exposure into public office, how do you expect people to trust you with their future? Now, Asiwaju has amply demonstrated beyond all reasonable doubt that he has the wand to remove Nigeria. Now, first of all, ab initio, this very democracy that we are practicing, that everybody has taken for granted, that Obi and Atiku have taken for granted, who among the present presidential candidates fought for this democracy with everything? It's Asiwaju Tinubu. He struggled and was hounded, harassed. His house was firebombed and was hounded into exile and was funding the Nadeko. Let me land on this. So he has paid his dues in terms of the political struggle to enthrone this democracy. That's a factor. Now, two, in terms of deepening and nurturing this democracy, is it Atiku? Where was Atiku during the struggle for the enthronement of this democracy? He was hands in gloves with the Abacha, 5 fingers of a leprous hand, the Abacha parties. He was there. Two, where was Obi? Obi was busy importing toothpick and orange juice into Nigeria during the struggle. Now they are taking part in it, thanks to the struggle of likes of Asiwaju. Number two, when you want to deepen this democracy, none of them has the knowledge. Obi was governor for 8 years. For 7 years, 10 months, he never conducted local government elections, which in itself is an impeachable offense. Right. Asiwaju conducted 3 local government elections in 8 years, and not only that, he deepened democracy by establishing 37 extra local governments. What did Atiku do? What is his contribution
we're totally out of time,
democracy and governance?
I mean, there's something that is unfair, which I just wish if you can do this in 10 seconds. Should Tinubu lose this election, what do you think would have been the cause?
Tinubu is, amongst all the contestants, is the most demonstrable, committed Democrat. He has demonstrated that with the struggle to actualize democracy. He has demonstrated that in governance by deepening democracy. He has demonstrated that by even welding together affiliates to become the first major party that would unseat an incumbent government in the history of this country, thanks to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So therefore, there is no question of his losing.
You are terribly confident about this.
Yes,
we'll see about that on Monday.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Mr. Dele Alake, for joining us tonight. Thank you so much indeed. Well, that's our show for tonight. I'll see you again tomorrow. But tomorrow is a power-packed one from 6 p.m. up until 10 p.m. You don't want to miss it. It's a eve of the big day. I'll see you tomorrow again, everyone. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.